Good to see you guys. So just a little FYI, I'm having my website completely redesigned, like new pictures, new class updates. So for now, I will just post the link of the class in you guys' messenger for probably, hopefully just one more class or two more classes. Okay. Because it should be done this week. So, and it was a complete overhaul, which it needed to happen. So that's where you can find those classes. I'll just make sure that after it's done uploading, I'll just throw it into your guys' messenger so you have it to watch back. Okay. All right. So I have some interesting topic that I would like to talk about today. And it's interesting when I'm doing multiple different like classes right now. It's just you get to see things from like different perspectives. And one of the things that is focal point of manifesting your dream body boot camp that I'm doing is the process of manifesting with zero effort. Okay. And we live in a culture where it's like, oh, work hard and diet and everything. But if you guys watched my etymology class that I did with Regina from our class fair, we were talking all about how words are spells and how we live in scarcity, which is our third dimensional concept, which is the template that we are living and vibrating in until we build our own new world here. We're living in scarcity. That is the main frequency of the third dimension is scarcity. And if you look at the definition of scarcity, it's like under what is actually needed for survival, right? It's like just enough or you're going to run out. So when you are connected to the collective consciousness, you're going to have that experience. You're going to have a scarcity of money, scarcity of time, scarcity of health, scarcity of options. And what that does is it puts you into more scarcity. Okay. And so with this idea of scarcity versus prosper city, right? We've got 3D versus 5D thinking because the city is a state of being. All right. So when people are always saying, oh, find the state of being, find the state of being, and you're going, I'm in the problem, I'm in the problem. And so what that means is go over to prosper city and look at the definition of prosper basically means to thrive, to expand, to multiply, right? It is the very opposite vibration as scarcity. So when you look at these two options that you have, literally, and you have both templates made here. See, we believe that we only have scarcity here, but prosper city is fully in existence on planet Earth right now. Okay, it's the new Earth. But here's the thing. You cannot have residency or live in the state until you live in the state. Until you replace the scarcity mindset with the prosper mindset, you will be going back and forth, or you'll physically live in scarcity and you'll meditate in prosper city, but you won't physically with your body be able to live there. Now in prosper city, manifestation is instant. It is all done through magnetic desire of experience. It's always a win-win situation. There's always enough. Okay. There's, like I said, expansive relationships, expansive realities. And here we have contraction-based realities. We have fear-based love. We have all kinds of aberrations around money and our bodies and our health and each other. And if you're playing a spiritual person in scarcity, well, that's a whole new other bag of issues that you have that other people don't have. See, regular people just have scarcity, but now you've involved the spirit world and the psychic world. So now you're dealing with scarcity on all different planes, which I think actually makes the game a lot harder now that I have backed up from it and been like, okay. So what I'm finding is there is a root wound that builds the self-concept in order for you to be stuck in scarcity. You guys want to know what it is? What is the one mindset or traumatic wound that you develop somehow your first 7 years while you're in that state of theta before your subconscious mind hardens and says, this is who you are. Okay, forever until you change it, right? One belief. I am not enough. Because what does scarcity mean? I don't have enough. So now let's go up to 7 chakras. I am not enough. I cannot create enough. I cannot do enough. I cannot feel enough or love enough. I cannot I cannot know enough, or I'm sorry, believe enough or speak enough. I cannot see enough, and I cannot know enough. All right. Now let's turn it back towards you, because you are emitting this I am frequency, and then you are projecting what you believe through scarcity out into the world, and then you're getting the feedback loop. So now in your root chakra, your intimate relationships, your job, your money, your house, your environment all represent root chakra. And that is going to be coming back to you as you're not enough. There's not enough, right? There's not enough you could do. So now it's going to come back at you with scarcity as the reflective point. So let's look at our sacral, which is I create. This is also your sexuality. This is who you are with your physicality, your creative essence, your gender polarity roles of creation. And so looking at all those stories of not being enough, not having enough, not doing enough, not wanting enough, not getting enough of support back, not being, this is where co-creation transcends. So if co-creation has been an issue, or it's been in scarcity, right? You're giving more than you're getting. See, when you have a root wound of I am not enough, there's something that is really crazy that happens with the conscious mind. And as I'm digging more and more and more and more into this within myself, is realize that the way we got so effing separated from knowing ourselves was never that we weren't aware of what was in the subconscious mind. It was that the conscious mind made a vow to not be or act like it was raised. But see, here's the thing the conscious mind doesn't realize is that what you are surrounded in, influenced in, impacted in, hypnotized in, programmed in, you become. So you become I'm enough, but the conscious mind makes a vow to become more. So once the conscious mind decides, I'm not going to be like my childhood, I'm going to go out and be more, okay? I'm going to prove my parents wrong. I'm going to have things they didn't have. I'm going to be a better parent than them. I'm going to give more. I'm going to have more. I'm going to say more. I'm going to do more. I'm going to feel more. You go out into the physical world with that vow. That vow has now separated conscious awareness with subconscious programming. And now you have a mask called a vow that you are leading. It is your motivational force. It is what you are attracted to. But here's the thing. When you manifest a top and a bottom. So you manifest the surface desire of the conscious mind, and you manifest the underbelly or foundation of that manifestation is always going to be subconscious. Okay. So if I make a vow, I'm going to be successful, but my undercurrent is I'm not enough. What do you think is going to happen for my brief moments of success, the underbelly of my success? It's always going to be, I'm not enough. It's got to prove back to me, because in scarcity, the root belief system in order to live there is I'm not enough. In order for you to physically live in a third dimensional reality, you had to have downloaded this, because you live in scarcity. This is why you go to work to pay your mortgage and not be like, oh, God will take care of it. I live in prosperity. See, you don't believe that yet. Not yet. And so the reason it has been such a struggle for me is because I forgot I made the vow, just like you did. You forgot you made this vow that you were not going to ever feel like you weren't enough again in a relationship, with money, and you have gone out and with physical, mental drive, you have done everything in your possibility in physical reality to become more. It is at the basis of every single motivation you have in the third dimension. It is why you study so much. It is why you learn so much. It is why you do so much. It is why you listen so much. It is why you're constantly seeking, because you are running a subconscious program that regulates 95% of your whole vibration in I am not enough. Now, go look at your past 3 relationships. Look at the relationships that you have with your kids. Do you see I'm not enough anywhere? Do you see I'm not enough in your money? Do you see I'm not enough in your body sometimes when you look in the mirror naked? Okay. Do you see not enough sometimes when you look at your spouse naked? You know, how do you feel? Because here's the thing, becoming spiritual and a very kind, loving, empathic, sensitive being that has magical gifts does not take this program away. It doesn't. It just hides you from it until you manifest the underbelly of what it is you desire. And then you're like, how is this again? How is this? I'm not enough again, even though I'm way more than you. I'm way more than that. I'm way more than this. I'm way more than all of this put together. How am I manifesting? I'm not enough. And yet you do, because you made a vow, and the vow separates you from knowing thyself. You hear it from every guru. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. And you're like, I'm not a crazy psycho. Why am I manifesting crazy psychos? To prove that you're not enough. Why am I manifesting body issues when I'm work out and I eat healthy? Because you can't be enough. You cannot be enough if that is your subconscious root. So let me tell you what biologically happens when both men and women have I'm not enough running in their field. Because obviously I'm putting on this boot camp, Manifest Your Dream Body. And ultimately, we've got to get down to the biology, the impact of these belief systems and what it actually does to the female form and the masculine form. Okay. So what has happened because of this belief is that, see, when a woman doesn't feel like enough, she's a grower. So she will become more. When a man doesn't feel like enough, he will become less. He will become less of himself. When a woman wants more or needs to be more from this, she will become more. Look at our society. Look at the state of men. Every single man that has a belly has too much estrogen. Because when he stops building, because what's the point? And it's not fair. He actually lowers his testosterone by 30%, which raises his estrogen, which makes him moody and sensitive and overweight and inflamed and gut issues, because cortisol is a contractor. Okay. And a woman becomes more. So her testosterone rises by 30%. And see, the difference between men and women are men are thinkers by nature and women are feelers. So what happens is women become thinkers and men become feelers, all from energy of hormones. So when a woman becomes a thinker and she spikes her testosterone up 30%, we'll see now her physical energy to take care of the kids and the house and be the CEO and be everybody's best friend and be the people pleaser and be the mother and be the healer and be the knower. And all while she's studying for a doctorate in psychology, apparently, she has that energy, although she has no energy. Okay. Now, a man will 100% in nature of his own intuition sacrifice his body for his family. A woman's intuition does not tell her to do that. A woman will sacrifice her body for her children, not for her man, unless she's in her masculine. Because if she's in her masculine, the man in her life becomes another child or becomes something she has to teach or model or help grow up or heal if she's in her masculine. Okay. And if she's in her masculine, it is because of one reason. She doesn't feel safe. And if a woman doesn't feel safe, it is because she doesn't feel enough. Because as soon as a woman is disconnected from her feeling state, she is no longer connected to the divine. Now, guess where she's going to get the divine energy source from? Studying. See, a woman doesn't have to study. A woman has to tap in. When she is in her feeling state, okay, when a woman is in her feeling state, she is connected to the quantum field. She's connected to the Akashic records, and she's 100% connected to nature. She could learn everything about medicine, everything about science, everything about music, everything about biology, everything about the cosmos by being present. If a woman was in her feminine. If a man was in his thinking mind rather than in his feels, okay, he would look at reality and say, this scarcity is not okay for my family, and I'm going to build a new town. But because he's in his feels, it's not fair. And I've got to protect myself from the world. And I have to protect myself from you. And I have to protect myself from this instead of self-sacrificing and building a new planet. And this is why the whole new thought movement is 90% feminine, because 90% of the feminine are in their masculine. Like, how do we build this new world? Because we'll do it. Because when a woman feels less, she will become more. And when a man feels less, he will become less. Like, well, that's the point. I'll just play video games, watch porn, and I will live a virtual addiction to dopamine that I can't even get from a real woman anymore, because she's not doing the stuff that porn does. Because there's a thing called, I think it's called pectin, and it is a hormone that men release during safe intimacy with a real woman that they do not make watching porn, which means that porn lowers testosterone. Okay. But here's the thing. Well, I can't build anything, can't hunt anything, can't grow, can't teach anybody like Jesus did, because, you would die on the cross here. So what am I going to do? I'll make a whole bunch of money and I'll hoard it. Okay. And that's what men do. And they don't want to share it with their partner anymore. They don't want to take care of people anymore. And if they do, they feel devastated because they can't. If they are an actual man that's like, I want to provide and protect and fix and build, they are the ones who cannot agree with scarcity or work for someone else's dream. Think about it. Men are builders. And on this scarcity, you have to build someone else's dream here, right? Unless you're an entrepreneur. So what happens to the body in a feminine is when her testosterone rises, her periods become a mental illness, because her estrogen is it's trying to rise up from this high testosterone spike, and it becomes extremely painful and a lot of anger and rage that normally men get from, juicing up. Okay. And this also creates difficult menopause, which should be an ease of a new state. It's like the medicine woman in the Crohn's state. Oh, but no, it's considered a dis-ease in scarcity because of how painful and how mentally crazy it makes us. But if women did not have high testosterone, then menopause would be your natural next state, organic, pleasant, peaceful. Another reason why the whole transition between menopause and the menstruation cycle is so painful on women within their masculine is because women need each other. And in this state of this crossing over, they're on an island. They're either competitive or terrified of other women. And when you move into the state of I can no longer birth children, then the union between other women it tends to grow in these ancient civilizations, or actually still in the Amazon where they've got it right. Okay, because women would bond together and they would take care of the village and the children together. When they reached a certain state, they became the medicine woman and the elder, right? How many grandmothers do I know that are working 2 jobs raising their grandkids? Okay, or still having to work and dealing with menopause because they have been in the mind, not in the feeling. Now, when you're in the feeling state, you are moving at the speed of source energy, which is how fast your grass grows. When you are in the mind, you are usually 10 times ahead of source energy. So when you're in the mind, you always arrive first and you're always alone because no one else is there. Like, we're all sitting here watching the grass grow. I don't know what you're doing. But see, you have a fear. I have to get there because I don't feel safe and I don't feel enough. So I have to become more. I have to do more. I have to think more. I have to say more. Okay. I have to listen more because I have to see where I'm not safe. And therefore, this creates a very rigid physical body that is full of testosterone, spiking estrogen, raging cortisol, which gains. When a woman is in her testosterone, she will gain weight 10 times faster. When she is in her testosterone or masculine, she will have inflammation because of repressed anger. She will have joint issues because of lubrication issues that she's going to feel somewhere else. All right. And because she's thinking and not feeling, she is completely separated from her GPS system, even if she channels for a living. See, if I go channel for a living, I get into my feminine energy and I channel. But 98% of the rest of the day, when I'm raising kids and paying bills and driving around and trying to have a relationship, I'm in my masculine because women are shapeshifters. And by nature, we're healers. Okay. By nature, we're feelers. We're very slow moving, as slow as nature. And this is what, come on, middle, come on, walk faster, But see, now we've become the men. Why is my husband so slow? Just think about your own dynamic and think about your first 7 years. Did you download? Well, you did, because you live in scarcity. If you can hear me right now, right? I'm not enough. And I'm not enough grows up out of the 7 chakras into, I know I'm not enough. I see I'm not enough. I can't speak enough. How many of you have words to say and can't get them out? Or get all flubbed up, or get frozen, or say the wrong thing, or say the right thing, but it's not heard from someone else. How many of you feel like you have I can't love enough for them to know I love them? Or I can't feel the love that I need to feel from you. You're shut down here because they don't feel enough. Everyone in scarcity is running around trying to be enough from a place of not enough. This is why we all trigger each other. Okay. Now the collective agreement has to be, I'm not enough in order for this state to exist. We have to remain in the state of I am not enough for this to exist. We are moving into a whole new gender. It is a breed of half woman, half man on both sides. Okay. And the doctors don't even know what to do with it yet, because the thyroid gets all messed up during this process, adrenal glands destroyed, all kinds of cysts are growing in the kidneys and the uterine spaces, and then the brain, because of the fight of hormones. All because of growth hormones and sex hormones. All this stuff is happening. So look at your hormones as the soundtrack of your belief systems. Like, it's the music, bum, 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 that goes with, are you masculine or feminine? And there are so many women, including myself, that thought, I'm very feminine. Like, I'm a girly girl. And I date 6'4", blah, blah. And guess what? I'm the man in the relationship. Because I'm a thinker, and I'm a doer, and I'm a seer, right? And I'm a knower. And so I'm going to see what needs to be done way before anybody else does it. And because I want it done, because women who are in their masculine have control issues because they don't feel safe, are going to do it because no one else is doing it. And then instead of going, wow, this must be coming from a belief system of I'm not safe. And if he's married to me, then he must not feel safe either, because like attracts like. So why don't I try to get into I'm enough, and then maybe that'll rub off on him. And then we can all slow down and enjoy joy. But see, we don't actually think that it's that easy. All right. But I will tell you, that is actually how I healed my body. All I did was put myself back into my feminine energy. And as soon as I got back into my feminine energy, I had intuitions again. I had real signals from my body telling me what I should and shouldn't eat. You see, when you're in your mind, you have no idea what your body wants. That's why you're WebMDing. You're not in your feeling state. Guess where your body is? It's in the feeling state. A child up until 7 years old is in the feeling state. Your body remains in the feeling state. If you actually want to know what's going on in your body, you have to feel it. It's not going to say, hey, I have a headache. It's going to feel like dull. It's going to feel like an emotion. But if you're 10 steps ahead, then what you're going to do is find other logical, linear people to ask what is wrong with your body. And your body is like, where are you? And you're going, I'm not enough. I'm trying to create enough for us. I'm on a new diet. I'm working. I mean, I see these girls on Instagram, and I hurt for them, because they're like, they've got bubble butts this big, and they're lifting weights, and they're like jacked up. And I know that they still don't feel enough. I know they don't, because I can tell by the way that they are lifting the weight that is the intention of, this is going to make me enough. I can't tell you the last time I lifted weight now, right? I still got the bubble butt because I imagined it, right? It's like, as soon as you are in your feeling state and you connect to the body's feeling state, you connect with the universal energy feeling state and nature state, and now you're one. And guess what? Nature ain't in scarcity. There's so much fruit falling off of fruit trees. They literally have to throw it away. But here, they put food in scarcity, and jack the price up because they want you in economic scarcity and food scarcity, right? And medicine scarcity and health scarcity and relationship scarcity. See, they know relationships is going to be the end of society. And the reason why is because when a feminine energy is in her masculine, she cannot have a healthy relationship even with another woman. Because it's not who you are. You choose a woman body, you chose it for a reason. You might have trauma around it. You may have trauma against man. And I'm not saying that lesbianism doesn't exist. I'm saying it does, but you would be in your feminine energy. Because you know what? I can have girlfriends in my feminine energy that we get along better than most of the guys I've dated. So it isn't about sexual attraction. It isn't about any of that. It is about role, and it is about where you are leading, from the mind or from the feeling state. And if you're in the feeling state, you are living your life at the speed of grass, which means you are in the present moment, in the present moment. When you're in the present moment, you don't age rapidly. When you have jacked up levels of testosterone, you age 3 times faster. Okay, you lose the supple vitality of your skin. Your hair gets all dry. This is what testosterone does. This is why you see guys that are on steroids and you're like, teeny weeny, right? Because you think they don't even have eyebrows. And we wonder why our thyroids are all messed up, why we have cysts in our uterus. And this is the only reason. And so now all these doctors are like, oh, you got to fix your hormones. You got to fix your, no, you need to change the I'm not enough. That is it. That is the root wound of this entire society. If the whole society started saying, you know what, we're going to be enough, no matter what it takes, your entire body would heal. Your financial situation would completely change. Because here's the thing. What if I believed at my root that I was enough? Well, then I would know that I would be chosen, which is a secondary wound. I'm not enough, therefore I'm not chosen. I'm not enough, therefore I'm not loved. I'm not enough, therefore I'm not seen. I'm not enough, or I'm not heard. I'm not enough, or they wouldn't have done it to me. But what happens when a feminine energy is in her masculine? She becomes a man. And so let's say now, let's go into the dating world, which I have been in my masculine. Well, I'm in my mind, so now I'm thinking like a man. What do men want? Okay, what do men want versus what women want? Okay, women are literally talkers and receivers. Men, right, are listeners, okay, and they are givers by nature. But when I'm in my masculine, right, I'm having to listen because I don't know if I'm going to be safe. So I'm not free to talk. What if I say something wrong? I might not be enough. So I become a doer and a listener, which means I become a giver, I become the pursuer, and I become the listener and the student. The masculine energy can no longer do what a masculine energy does. And so I'm only going to be sexually attracted to, emotionally attracted to either an emasculated man or a feminine man. Now, let me tell you the difference. An emasculated man will come off looking exactly like a masculine man. They'll put the effort in their physicality. Okay. But they will have rage issues. They will have OCD issues, control issues. They will have scarcity around money and generosity in certain times. They have mother-father issues that they have not dealt with because they do not believe they're enough. They will have secret addictions that their partners may never know about because they live a double life. Emasculated men live a double life. They're super into hunting, which means they abandon their kids to go hunting. They're watching porn, they're playing video games, or they're avidly collecting and hoarding something that doesn't make any sense for the family dynamic. That would be like what an emasculated man would be in our society, which is a lot of them, especially these younger ones that are being born with 20% less testosterone because they were given everything. Testosterone comes from sacrifice, right? And that's where we got it, ladies. That's why we got it, is because we sacrificed. We're like, I'm going to do it then. So we jacked up our own hormones to become survival. All right. So the feminine man moves out of the thought process and moves into his feeling state. So he moves into the nature man, where he's all about nature and nurture. His sexuality becomes very seductive, like a feminine. Okay. He seduces women like a woman would seduce a man. Now, women are in their masculine, so they're loving it. But see, here's the thing, because they are in their feminine, estrogen dominant testosterone experience, they are unable to provide. They can't provide and protect. They can seduce, and they can take you hiking, and they can live out in the country, and they can live under a tent, and they can be really sexy, and they can be amazing, but they couldn't provide for you the way you would want to. And you obviously have a certain way you want to be provided for, or you wouldn't be in your masculine. You see, providing is about the physical world, right? And now here's what I'm saying, guys, is I'm not poo-pooing the nature man or the emasculated man or the masculine woman. I am saying this is what our society has available to it right now, when we all have a root bottom wound sitting in our root chakra that we are not enough. Because here's the thing, a man who doesn't feel enough will become passive and undriven to compete in physical reality, right? An emasculated man will still try really hard, but feel like he can't. And so he will be estrogen dominant, and he will carry weight in his body. All right. Now the feminine woman, let's talk about like the truth now. Like, what does that really look like? Of what you do when you start working on this wound. Let me show you what happens. Okay. First of all, you slow way down, and you're not afraid. You're like, oh, nothing's falling apart. Okay. At first, a few things might be falling apart because of pride or what you've built out of false sense of success or whatever, or need to protect yourself. You're going to have to face your safety issues, obviously. But all you actually have to do is change your belief system to I'm enough. No childhood therapy, no shadow work. It's literally replacing I'm not enough with I'm enough. Okay. Affirmations, self-hypnosis, noticing where you actually are enough. See, a lot of us are hearing all the time that we are enough, and we won't hear it. Because remember, if it's in the root, it's in the eyes. It's going to be in your third eye if it's in your root, because everything is a projection and basically growth of who you are in your foundational system. So when people are like, oh, your heart chakra's out of whack. No, honey, your root is out of whack. Your heart is the symptom, because everything grows out of the root. These aren't separate, or my energy systems are not separate from each other. But the bottom three chakras are held in purgatory, where your soul is. It's subconscious, under the belly button, under where you were born is subconscious, right? And this is why a lot of your behavior is unconscious to you, because your solar plexus remains in the trapment of your subconscious programming until you set it free. So we're all like, we're not free. And the thing is it's only your bottom three chakras that are in purgatory or in jail or in I'm enough, not enough. And so that's why you can feel like you're enough, but then your life shows you that you're not. That's why you can feel like you do know your God, but then you also know physically that you're not. You see? So your top three chakras remain in an altered higher dimensional state. Your heart is the center. It is the mediator. It's not going to take sides. It loves the bottom. It loves the top. It loves everybody. Okay. This is why you can hate people who have hurt you. This is why you forgive so easy. This is why you understand people's pain. But at the same time, the wounding of your root chakra also goes into the heart and attracts what is loving towards you or not loving towards you, and the way that you allow yourself to love. So if you have walls around your heart because you've been hurt, right? Well, there you go. It's because, well, I wasn't enough. And so I don't need more reminding that I'm not enough. So I'm not going to give them all of me. You see, because I don't know if they're enough. So it's I'm not enough. You're not enough. I'm not enough. It's this whole mental warfare that goes on. And so as I started looking at all the root wounds that I was dealing with, and all my clients for the last 12 years have dealt with, and how we've tried to fix it in the crown chakra, we've tried to fix it in the heart chakra, and we've tried to speak it in the third eye. And I'm like, why is this still here? Well, We got to look below the surface and where scarcity resides, and it's underground in HELL. Okay, subconscious, subterranean, below your vision. So there's a whole system that we're living in called scarcity, that in order to live here, you have to have the belief system that you are not enough, because then you will chase scarcity. You will work hard for money. You will take breadcrumbs in your relationship. You will deal with narcissism. You will deal with your government. You will deal with a body that is less than your superhero knowledge of self. Like if you were going to go into who you are as your higher self, okay, let go of all the stories of your body, but like when you are in that meditative state of just like that God energy, like what would your body look like? Well, guess what? That's what your body looks like. But now you put, I am not enough. I've never been enough. I don't have enough. And because you're in your masculine energy and you're not in your feeling intuitive states, unless you're channeling or working or mothering, okay? When you're in your survival, you jump back into your masculine role and you are depleting all of your life force energy and your body is rapidly aging. And in our collective scarcity, beauty is scarcity, right? Think about that. Men and women ratio, scarcity. So now all the women who are losing their beauty have to compete for the same, you know, guy with a man bod because he's got too much estrogen. And he's like, I'm not even sad about it. They still want me. Because they're in their masculine, so they're all competing and hunting for a guy that isn't even worth it. And the men are not even really grasping this, because I've actually had to, I've talked to a couple of men that were in their emasculation and they don't want to hear it. They are so triggered if you say anything. Okay. Now women, we're like, we know we're not enough. Tell us everything wrong with us. We're out there studying, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Men are like, nothing's wrong with me if they're emasculated because they're not in their fields. Okay. Feminine men think they literally got the golden cup because they don't have to do anything, take care of anyone. They get to be super sexual and sensual and naturistic. And women will just take care of them. And so they don't really think that they've gotten anything wrong, except there might be some father issue that keeps them up at night, that they weren't enough. Because what they really would like to do is provide, not necessarily work in the world of scarcity, but maybe do a little bit more than provide a hut and with modern technology. Okay. And of course, I'm like totally shaming all of this because I'm trying to Hollywood this in your mind about what this role dynamic has done to our self-esteem, to who we are as parents, to what our children are becoming. Okay. And what we are going to leave behind if we don't change this. Because here's the thing, spiritual training will not heal this. The only thing that heals this is to change the belief at the root and then practice it until it becomes real. Because what I'm asking you to practice is your absolute truth of who you are. Your body will never reject it. Okay. I'm not saying, yeah, tell your body this. I am saying, you know what? Let's go back to the default settings. The default settings before the world put you into scarcity mindset and then closed up your subconscious mind so you couldn't have a new thought unless you woke up and realized that thought was in there and it turned into a belief and it created a whole operating system that then you vowed you would never buy into. And so you've been trying to be super successful in an I'm unworthy, not enough storyline. You see, as soon as you make the vow, you don't even look there. You're going to look everywhere else. You're going to try to find out why you are not enough. You're going to go on a lifelong journey. You're going to go on a healing journey. Why am I not enough? Was it my mother? Was it my sister? Is it because I'm not smart enough? You know, how do I get prettier? Because a woman in her masculine will literally pursue three things: more money, more education, and a better body. That's what she thinks is going to make her enough if she's in her masculine. Why? Because she's thinking like a man. And she thinks, well, that's what men want. And I'm thinking like a man. So if I get more money, okay, because I'm a man, so I got to compete in a man's world. I got to look better because men are the judge here. Okay. And I have to have more successful so I have value. That's what men do. And when I realized that that was like literally the motivating factor of my life, I was like, and all I'm doing is getting older and uglier and sicker because I'm in my masculine energy, which is complete opposite of my nature. Remember the definition of sin, right? Separated in nature. So when a collective separates from their nature, they're controllable. When I am separated from my feelings, then I am going to have to become codependent on a system because I am not connected to my source that says, you're fine, everything's fine. I'm going, I can't feel my source because I'm 10 steps ahead. I'm farther away than the present moment from God where he's trying to create right here. And I'm way here going, where's God? God doesn't love me. It's because I wasn't enough. Now even God abandoned me. My mother abandoned me. My dad abandoned me. My kids have abandoned me. Now God's abandoned me. You see, so this is the idea. This is the wheel, the Groundhog Day of scarcity. So the more you chase scarcity looking for prosperity, the more scarcity you find. Prosperity is a decision, not an effort. It is a choice, not a doing. It is a belief system and not a letter after your name that somehow justifies you for having. See, like salvation. So 5D is choose your own salvation, like choose your own video game. So you have to save yourself. So you got to go into those lower 3 chakras and look at where scarcity is programmed. So what is in the root chakra? It is your self-identity, your self-concept. It is your economic structure that you live in currently. It is your family dynamic, who and what is around you. It is your home and your nurturing environment or your neighborhood or society, your collective environment. And it is the idea of law and government and money. That's all in your root. Don't you think that's everything that's in your way? Because your creativity is not in your way. The way you love is not in your way. Walking around on the planet, even as a masculine, probably with inflammation and all kinds of issues going on, is still not in your way. What's in your way is what's in the root. That's why you only have to look there. Because once we actually recode the root, then I am enough will grow into I create enough. I am supported enough, right? I co-create enough. I am created back towards. And I demonstrate enough. I am doing enough. You ever feel like you're doing enough? Okay. And they're doing enough to make me feel loved and safe and satisfied. I'm loving enough. I feel enough. I feel loved. They feel loved. Enough. You know, I can speak enough. I can speak my truth enough to make me feel proud of me. I can say the things that are in my heart. I can hear the things that are in other people's heart. I can see potential. I can see the prosperity because of course I'm enough. So I will become more of what I am. And then I know that I am enough because I am. You see, so it's going to work its way up, right? But when a man has too much estrogen, he will become passive aggressive. He will become an addict and lazy. When a woman is in her masculine, she will become a thinker, a doer, a provider, a protector, a fixer, a builder, a healer, a teacher, a student, and a child. Because she's a shapeshifter. And so she will wear whatever hat in the moment that is needed for her to survive that moment. And this will create a scarcity of her own energy. Now her feeling space, because the first thing that happens to a woman, guys, when we don't feel safe, we stop feeling. Okay. And we start thinking, because when you are in fight or flight, you are not connected to the divine power of God. You are connected to your survival mechanism of your primal body. What do I need to do to feel safe? Where can I go? How can I go there? How do I protect myself? So, and if a woman stops feeling safe early childhood, okay, her body was built out of this story. All right. And therefore, she doesn't know any different. And that's why this took me a year, because I didn't know how to be in my feminine energy safely, because I had created such a world of scarcity around me that if I didn't outproduce 10 men, I wouldn't be able to live in the way that I was living. And so I literally had to call scarcity's bluff and go, well, I'm going to lose everything and all of my research is incorrect, or I'm going to be divinely protected if I slow down and change my belief systems. And so far, so good. You know, I'm still here. Lights are still on, thank goodness, you know? So it's one day at a time, it's one step at a time. But reclaiming this part of me, it feels like a part of me I've never been able to know, but I ached for. See, the real you will always feel like what you're aching for. It'll always feel like the desire that actually hurts. The desires that you know are yours don't hurt. They make you smile. Like, I could have that. I know that. But the ones that hurt, those are the ones that you believe you can't have. You know, like think of the things right now, because you live in scarcity, that are telling you that you can't have the way you want it. Right? Scarcity of geography, scarcity of economics, scarcity of whatever story you have right now that you have bought into is coming from, I'm not enough. Because if I was enough, I'd be able to have it all. And then what we do is we see other people in scarcity that appear to have it all. They do not have it all. No one in scarcity has it all. Because in scarcity, you always have to give something to get something. And pretty much in order to get to the higher ranks, you have to give away your essence, which means when a female chases money and success and gives up her femininity, she's actually giving up her God power. And that's her soul. Okay, that is her internal guidance knowledge in order to go chase money and go chase success. Now, if I have kids to feed and I have a vow that I'm not going to be like my mother, then I might be like, who do I write this soul over to? Here you go, because this is all I know. And I would say that 75% of the population has done that. Whereas like, I don't need this. I want that. I need that. I want you, even if it ruins me. Like, it's that instant gratification, that feeling of need, and lack, that you're always hungry for, that you can't have, that you watch other people have. But see, what the thing is, you don't realize that in scarcity, the people that look like they have a lot have given way more of their essence away than you have. Okay. They've given their humanity away. Okay. They've given their integrity away. They've given their morals away. They've given their time away. So you think this millionaire, billionaire guy who is actually a father, if he's not living in prosperity. Now, if he's living in prosperity, he can have it all, because all the difference between him and you is one belief system. It isn't that he works harder than you or knows more than you or knows the right people than you, because if you were in the I am enough, you would meet the right people too, because like attracts like. So what I'm saying is it's a really kind of a crappy conversation of realism here, but ultimately there is the easiest solution to every one of your problems, and it is to change one belief and change it like it is your full-time job. Okay, so hold that thought. All right, so what I'm doing in this 90-day boot camp, and these ladies don't know it yet, but some of you are about to know it right now, is I'm going to get you back to your feminine energy and change a couple of core beliefs. And what that is going to do now, with all of the asking that you've done, that you've put into the vortex, that's literally waiting for you, is going to start downloading. Because once you get into alignment, when I align, it's mine. When I align, it's mine, which means when you get back to who you truly are, authentically, in your vulnerability, you're safe to ask for help, and you're safe to be soft and kind, and you're not having the world hurt you and speak your truth. when you believe that. And see, here's the thing, organically, you're not going to do any of that, say any of that, or rush out into the world with your feminine energy. That will happen organically when that belief system changes. Because when I tried to get in my feminine energy, I was forced back to my masculine because I kept attracting people that would challenge me. So I have to shapeshift really quickly in that environment. Okay. Plus entrepreneur, single mom. I mean, I've got the total masculine story going here. Okay. My dad left. I've got every reason to be masculine, except there's no real joy because I'm disconnected from my source unless I'm teaching. If I'm living in my masculine to live my scarcity-based lifestyle. So when we change the belief system, the organism changes. So thought creates changes in the body. See, we don't change the body, we change the thoughts. And the thoughts are basically going to change your biology because we're going to change the environment of the thought. We're going to work in every chakra. Okay. So it's I am enough. I create enough. I do enough. I love enough. I feel enough. I say enough. I see enough. And that when you practice actually going into your imagineering in this way, you really do start seeing what was always there. Because there's this idea of collective scarcity. The grass is always greener. And the reason why is because you're in scarcity. And so if I'm in scarcity here, I wonder if over there is better. See, we have this weird collective belief system that we're not really in scarcity, that it's our fault. But in scarcity, you will always be in scarcity. There is nothing you can physically do in physical reality to take you out of that story because it isn't a physical expression. It is a thought. It is an idea. So an idea is like a cluster of thoughts, and that hardens into a belief. And as soon as you believe, you become the lie, and it becomes live action. You become the actor of scarcity. Okay. So look around in your reality right now at what always is scarce. And what always is scarce is where your biggest I am not enough program is. Whereas in abundance, you don't have that belief. Because here's the thing, in scarcity, I'm going to be in abundant of something that I wish I had what you had in scarcity. Like, oh, I'm abundant of this, but I wish I was abundant in what you were abundant in. Right. And so what I'm abundant in, I take it for granted because I can't do a lot with this. It doesn't really produce a lot of like results in 3D, what I'm abundant in. But what you're abundant in, you see, because in scarcity, there's desperation, and desperation is the criminal mind. And in a criminal mind, you're in comparison, judgment, envy, greed, right? Wrath. So the 7 deadly sins go perfectly with I'm not enough, because here's the thing, you know you're enough. You know it with every like cell in your body, but the program that you're in is I'm not enough. And so the more you try to effort your way into this, the more you'll manifest this time I got it. The underbelly will be like, I'm not enough. Oh, or my partner doesn't feel enough, or my sister doesn't feel enough, or my teacher doesn't feel enough, or my kids don't feel enough. That's what I'm dealing with right now. I'm looking at my kids and I'm like, great, they've got it too. Because we all live in scarcity. So what I've got to do as the Imagineer here, and the Imagineer is the one with more awareness. That's it. Okay. The Imagineer is going to be the one that imagines all of you out of here. Okay. It's like, I'm going to teleport everybody out of here because we're all connected as one. I can affirm for all of my intimacy into me, I see, and take them all with me. Which means as I'm downloading this new affirmation belief system that I will die for at this point, I'm taking everybody with me because I'm going to be affirming for them that they're enough. And I'm actually going to start speaking that word into reality because words are spells. Think about how many times you thought this week, I don't have enough, or said it. The words have to be stripped from your vocabulary. I always have enough. Everywhere I go, there's enough. You literally have to change the physical word as well. because you are the voice of God, but right now you're not even at you're playing down such a role that you're like an actor or an extra in the movie of Scarcity, where you're not even in a lead. Okay, but you are the God of your body, and so whatever you tell your body becomes. See, so if I say I'm not enough, well, my body will definitely not be enough. And if I say I don't have enough, then my body won't be able to make enough. And if I say I'm too ugly, well, then my body will tell me exactly where I believe that. If I'm getting too old, my body will help me be that too. You see, so once you're in the mind, you are in the collective scarcity mind. And so everything here wants you in your mind. It wants you out of your feelings. It wants you traumatized so you don't want to feel your feelings. It wants people constantly hurting your feelings so you'll stop feeling. It wants medication so you stop feeling. Okay. It wants TV so you stop feeling what you're feeling. It wants social media so you stop feeling what you're feeling. And see, when you don't feel, you don't know. Because telepathically, you are created and connected to every other being in super consciousness through feeling. That's why feeling is the secret to changing your self-concept. So my question as we end here, what would it feel like to be enough? And you know, because there's a part of you that feels enough. So ask her, ask him, what would my life be like if I was enough? What would my relationship be different if I felt like I was enough or gave enough or did enough or said enough? And how would I feel in return if I felt my partner was enough? How would my parents feel if they knew they were enough? How would I feel towards them? How would I feel towards money if I knew I was enough and that I deserved enough by just being myself? I've done enough. See, it's state of being, not state of doing. Scarcity, you have to do to survive here. You have to think to survive. If you feel, you're vulnerable and you could be attacked. But in prosperity, thought is only in ideas, inspiration, or conclusion. And prosperity is a feeling space. Feeling, right? And so returning to who you are now gets you a one-way ticket over there. As soon as your root chakra is reprogrammed to I am, which is all inclusive, right? I am worthy, I am abundant, I am enough. All of a sudden, you get your citizenship over to Prosper City. And now everything you start to see will be prosperity. But you will be actually in your natural essence. So it won't be like a rich kid with bad hormones that's lazy. You will be the real you there, the one that you haven't been able to be here because of scarcity. So this is food for thought. But I just wanted to give you guys this class today, because today in the fellowship, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to teach Imagineering of bringing your purpose to you. So what could you, how could you imagine in order to bring that purpose? Like, what's my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing here? How should I be doing it? I'm going to show you how to go there, bring it inside the body, and start practicing, preparing, and playing for it. And then your body will show you the rest of the way. Okay, so we're going to do that in the fellowship class. But I thought this is going to be a really good baseline class for non-duality, because ultimately the reason why we live in duality is because of this belief, right? Because everything is just not good or bad. It's just the way we define it, the meaning that we give it. And I want you to look and see if you made a vow somewhere like I did that has totally effed up your life and kept you from knowing what was in your subconscious like I did. Because again, you are all very aware beings. And so when something is happening into you in childhood and you have awareness, empathy, and sensitivity, you're not going to necessarily agree with it. So you might have made a vow like I did, that instead of connecting you to your power, it disconnected you to your power. And you went on a adventure like I did to become enough, which inherently kept attracting bigger messes that proved that I wasn't enough. Okay. And I finally had to hit my head again this last year until I'm like, oh, it's just a belief system. But I didn't know it was in there because I made a vow to never be like that. And see, the influence and the adaptability of the survival instinct of a child is to not be abandoned or rejected. And so they become, your subconscious mind becomes the essence of your family dynamic, whether you know it or not. That's why it triggers you so bad. Okay. All right. So that's your food for thought. Look for that everywhere and do your work. You guys got this. Okay. See some of you guys later. Bye.